Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of Source and Company. I'm your host, Source, of course. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Smitty Source on both of those. I don't know why I say Twitter because I'm never on Twitter, but that's not the point. It's there just in case you are. You can also follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts under Source and Company, and follow the Instagram for the show, which is Source, the letters NCO podcast _ RV8. Woo, that's a lot. All right. So here we go. Once again, see, for some reason, there are three cities that are repeated in Source and Company outside of Richmond, which would be Atlanta, New York, and LA. 804 to LA, we have today's company. She is formerly a freelance reporter. She worked in the 804 for CBS as well as for the University of Richmond. Now she is out in California doing what I call videography work, content creation, a lot of sports stuff too. So we're going to get into a little bit of that or a lot of that and find out how she went from here to there. Today's company, Caitlin Crumpton. Hello, Caitlin.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. You are one of the few pieces of company that I don't personally know, that I haven't ever met before. But for some reason, Facebook was like, friends you should know. I don't know. You kept coming up in my friends you should know. And one day I was like, let me just click and see how it's even thinking that we know each other. And I noticed our mutual friend, well, it's more like family over here, Carlos Cooper, who I hit up. I was like, tell me more. And he kind of linked us up. So we appreciate him for that. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's another day, another dollar, you know. Yes. Can't complain, though. Can't complain. We're still here. Man, I didn't even think, like, usually I start the show, well, probably for the first 25 to 30 episodes, I would start the show with the same question. How has COVID been for you? But I didn't even think about asking you about that. I really should, though. How has COVID been for you?
COVID's been a unique experience, especially like out in LA, because we were one of the first cities to shut down. And then I feel like we've been one of the last cities to like fully reopen. Like literally 2 weeks ago, things fully reopened, like no more, capacity limits, things like that. So literally we were in quarantine for almost a year and a half. And initially it wasn't that bad. It was nice to kind of just like, take a step back, relax, not just the hustle bustle in life. But the beginning of this year, I think it really was like affecting me because like, okay, what are we doing? Because we're opening up, we're shutting down, like it was kind of the back and forth of it. So that made it really hard. And then too, with like sports world being shut down, and that's, my work, that was really tough. But yeah, I'm still here by God's grace. I know a lot of people had to leave LA, so I'm just really grateful that I made it through a pandemic and I'm still here.
Amen. I can say that. Amen. Because like you said, that's your work. Well, for me, it's passion more than anything else. But the fact that we did not have sports consistently for a few months, like it was crazy. And I think the last thing was maybe WNBA. And then it was just a break in time where we had nothing. I like FanDuel, some daily sports, fantasy betting, and they were coming up with anything. It was just it wasn't even real sports. It was like things that were
like online. Little challenges and stuff like that, like people doing things at their house. And
they did debates, like presidential debates. Who's going to say that? I was like, man, it's bad.
Oh yeah, I was getting that because I do like I think it's like CBS. They have a bunch of like sports betting apps or something. Yeah, and they were doing stuff like that, like reality shows and stuff. I'm like, what is this? This isn't sports.
Exactly. That's how you know they're just like, we got to get our money some kind of way. Let's go.
Right.
So let's go back. We did mention that you do videography and content creation. Let's take it all the way back, like we like to do about this time, to your 804 roots.
Okay.
You were born in Richmond?
Yeah, I'm from Richmond, born in Glen Allen, went to Brooklyn Middle School, Hermitage High School. From there went to JMU, and then just kind of been here and there ever since. So yeah, 804 is home. It'll always be
804.
home.
I'm sure there are at least 5 people right now saying, why is everybody that you talk to from Hermitage? And I'm going to find
Hermitage
out.
produces greatness.
Apparently so, because it's legit. You got to be at least person number 8. And this is probably episode 58. You're at
Oh
least person
wow.
number 8. That's kind of crazy. Out of all the, 804 people that I know in and out of the city,
Hmm.
that's a lot. So you have a twin brother.
I do have a twin brother, yes.
Overprotective twin brother, like big brother, twin brother, or
No, so
equals?
I'm actually older. So this is actually an interesting story. I'm 13 minutes older, which in twin land is like
Minutes.
unheard of. Yes.
Wow.
So he was actually born at 11:59 on July 30th. And the doctor asked my mom, like, hey, do you want this baby born on July 30th or 31st? And she's like, the 30th, because it's going to confuse insurance if I tell them I have twins, but they have 2 different birthdays. So I am older. I've always, I think, kind of played that older sister role, the mother figure, the second mother to him. We've kind of, growing up, we had like a love-hate relationship. Over the years, we've gotten a lot closer. He's still back in Richmond, and yeah, he's kind of exploring the entrepreneur life with DJing, and he's really a big sneakerhead and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of being on those journeys together has been cool and kind of brought us together a little bit.
Wow, that's wild. And you said, well, before we started recording, I asked you, were you into sports? Did you play sports?
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually, my first sport was dance. So I started ballet when I was 3. I did that for 9 years. Then I got into like basketball, softball. And so I quit dance in order to really focus on those. So yeah, I was always playing sports. I was always playing with the guys. I remember in rec league basketball, they made me join the girls league, because they're like, you can't play anymore, like you're too old. So I wasn't happy about that. But yeah, I played basketball and softball. Softball was kind of more of my stronger sport. I played travel softball. I played for Hermitage all 4 years, both sports. So yeah, I've always been an athlete. I've always just been around sports, enjoyed working out. And now I'm working in it. So it's been really cool.
That's dope. And later we're going to get into your boxing adventures. We'll call it adventures.
It is an adventure for sure.
Yeah, definitely got to talk about that. So you went to JMU.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've met one person that went to JMU that said they didn't enjoy JMU. Are you with the majority on that? You loved it or what?
I wouldn't say I loved it.
Really?
JMU. So coming from Hermitage, which was very diverse, going to JMU, it was honestly a culture shock. Not very diverse at all. So yeah, that was kind of, I think, difficult for me. I enjoyed my experience there. I enjoyed, my 4 years there, but I wasn't one of those people that was like, I love JMU, or like, I love the college that I went to, but I had a lot of great opportunities, with working with like the sports teams and with like the media department and stuff. So I would definitely say, and that was one of the reasons, honestly, that I went to JMU, because they had a really good broadcast journalism program. And that's what I was interested in majoring in. And my top pick was NYU, but my dad was like, that's too expensive, you're not going there. So yeah, JMU kind of fell in my lap, but it was a good fit for me. It was a great experience. I met some cool people. Yeah, and it was a good 4 years.
It just clicked in my mind. I was curious. I was like, how does Elsie know Caitlin?
Oh yeah, Elsie Baker.
JMU.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. Elsie Baker, who was a great athlete he's still a great athlete now, but he was a great athlete in the 804 area, played football at JMU as well. And y'all were there at the same time.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's dope. That's dope. So you did some reporting at JMU.
Mm-hmm.
And that led you, after you graduated?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I graduated in 2011, yeah.
Okay, and that led you back to Richmond, back to the 804?
No, so after I graduated, I was still living in Harrisonburg, just working a restaurant job, putting out applications, trying to get a full-time job. And that's when I ended up getting my internship with the Cleveland Browns. And so I left Harrisonburg, drove out to Cleveland. The internship was supposed to be a year long, but you weren't guaranteed a full-time job after the internship was over. And so I didn't want to be stuck in Cleveland without a job. So I was putting out applications and stuff and ended up getting another job. So I was only in Cleveland for like 8 months, but it was a good experience. I liked Cleveland. Everyone told me, prior to moving there that, you're going to hate it. It's dark, it's cold, but I like Cleveland. It was a good experience for me.
Some call it the mistake by the lake, not
yes,
me, but
yes.
Some. How was that? You interned, or
yes,
you interned in Cleveland for the Browns, and you did production and content creation?
Yeah. So I was with their content production department, and so we would, shoot the press conferences, all the we would do the shows that they had weekly. We would shoot like highlights for practices and things like that. So it was a really cool experience. I had interned with the Redskins in college, so it was cool to be with like another NFL team and just kind of, see the varying dynamics and things like that. It was a lot of work. We were working like, especially in season, like 60 hours a week. And I mean, I'm only getting paid $12 an hour, and then too, not really being able to meet a lot of people. So that's what made it hard, is like working all the time, not having much of a social life. But, and then too, it's very difficult to work for an NFL team when they're not winning. That was really difficult, but it was a really cool experience. I learned a lot. I met some cool people, it looked good on my resume. So yeah, I don't regret it. I wouldn't take it away.
Yeah, that was one of the things one of the first things that I noticed. It said Washington football and Cleveland football. I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. And being a sports lover, does it make you like working for a team? It sounds great for a lot of people on the outside. Mm-hmm. But it's less sports. It's your job, but it just happens to be about sports. Is that how it was, or was it still like, I'm in this sports world, so I still love it?
Yeah, I think you still love it. I think one of the cool things about it is because you start developing relationships with people. You start, developing a relationship with the players, and then, seeing them perform on Sundays. And then, when you're not working there, you still kind of like keeping up with them. So that was like the cool part of it for me, is just like, seeing certain guys excel, discovering more about their story and stuff, and kind of having more of that like personal attachment to it, as opposed to just, turning on the TV on Sunday and it's just, some random guy that you don't even know. Like Emmanuel Acho, he got drafted when I was there. And so to see everything that he's doing now, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I knew him I don't know him personally, but he was with the Browns when I was with the Browns, so it's kind of like, yeah, like I said, kind of like that personal attachment, which I think makes it a little bit a more different experience. So.
And now he does the, I think was it Ask a Black Person?
He does the Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
and dope. I think he's like the new host of The Bachelor and stuff. So his broadcast career has really taken off.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, The Bachelor is not my lane at all, but that's dope though.
It
is. So you also mentioned that you spent some time down at Auburn, working with the football team. Or was it for all football?
So I worked with a lot of the sports. I primarily worked with the women's basketball team. So I was a video production assistant. So that's really what they hired me. That was my main role in that gig. But yeah, I traveled with them. I shot their highlights. I produced their web show. So that was really cool. I did some stuff with men's basketball. Like I got to go to Bahamas with them, shoot up a bunch of stuff. Yeah, and then I did go to a couple of football games. Got to travel to a couple of away games, which was really cool. So Auburn was a really neat experience, especially coming from JMU, which is, not an SEC school, to experiencing just the SEC world and SEC football. I was just like, what is this place? Like it's a completely different atmosphere. And I feel like everybody should experience the SEC football game because it's like nothing else.
That's real. And the interesting part about that is JMU is good at football at
They are.
the level that they play. They're, in the playoffs all the time,
Right.
championships, all that good stuff.
Right.
But you still can see the big difference between JMU and, the SEC is another world, like you said.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like when I went down there, it was when they hired Gus Malzahn, and my first day was his press conference. And so he gets up and he goes, War Eagle, and everybody says it in unison. I'm like, what is this? It's a cult. Like I've never experienced anything like it. And, people like they'll camp out the week before a big game, like get their big trailers, and they'll be out, in front of the stadium. And so I had never experienced anything like it before. But it was a lot of fun,
Now, you come on now, like you said, nothing more. Come on, like JMU Dukes.
Dude.
Come on, like
that's different than like the War Eagle, because you would only do the JMU Dukes at games. Like people do War Eagle just walking around campus,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just a different vibe for me.
That's fair. That's fair. And you happen to be around during the national championship run.
Yeah.
At Auburn. How Florida State fan, I mentioned that to you earlier. So, but anyway, how was that whole experience? Because, the SEC is one thing, but you're going national championship as well.
Yeah.
That's a whole different world as well.
It was amazing, because nobody thought Auburn was going to do as well as they did that year. And for them to have those two games, the Georgia game with the crazy Hail Mary, and then the Kick Six game where they come back and beat Auburn, and then they go and win the SEC championship. Like nobody saw that coming. So to be part of that, which is a really cool and unique experience. And then to be able to come out here, that was my first time ever coming to LA. So once again, I'm exposed to a world that I've never, experienced before. And, if you've never been to LA is like a completely different world. And so I come out here and I'm like, what is this place? Like I've never seen anything like it before. And fortunately, Auburn didn't win. We should have won, but we didn't. But it was still a really cool experience, to just go to the bowl game up in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl. We had to stay in like media tents, but the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, they let us down on the sideline. So I got to, see the last few minutes of the game, see the trophy presentation and all of that. So yeah, it was just a really cool experience. And then for them, like that was kind of their peak season. They didn't do as well, after that. So I kind of feel like I was their good luck charm in a sense. I like to think of it that way. So.
That's awesome. So when did you move out to the West Coast officially?
I moved out in 2016. So what happened with Auburn is I was working for Auburn IMG Sports Network, and Auburn and Georgia were the only two SEC schools that had kind of everything like outside, like it wasn't in-house. And so they decided to bring everything in-house, hired a new video director and everything. I wasn't offered a position. And so I ended up having to move back to Richmond. That was 2014, I think. Yeah, 2014. Back to my parents' house. Very humbling experience, to say the least. Yeah, I was in Richmond for 2 years, doing some freelance work. I was actually working at Hermitage as a teacher's assistant. So still putting out applications, trying to find a full-time gig. And then finally just kind of got to a point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna, take a leap of faith and just move to a big city and see what happens, because I'm not getting anything from any of these job applications. I'm not, I would get interviews, I get callbacks, but no offers. And so, yeah, I just, I took a leap of faith. I had peace about it. I had a living situation lined up prior to coming out here. Yeah, and I I moved and kind of been figuring things out ever since.
Wow. So you said that you got your degree related to sports reporting, right? Sport
Yep.
journalism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what you do now with the video content, a lot of it is sports related.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like with or I guess with or without the degree, you could have still done the same thing, but do you feel that that time and that experience at JMU has given you a leg up kind of in what you're doing now?
Oh, for sure, because that's where I learned how to shoot. That's where I learned how to edit, writing, things like that. So yeah, and a lot of people, especially out in LA, when they come out here to be content creators or, videographers, cinematographers, they're self-taught. So to be able to have that experience, and then also too, working with all these various teams, it's definitely, I think, prepared me for what I'm doing now. It's been more difficult because I am doing freelance. So I don't have a specific company that I'm working for. So as far as having that consistent income, that's been the most difficult part. So it's definitely having to hustle and work various jobs here and there, but also to, make sure I'm still honing my craft and, trying to put feelers out there and produce content and stuff. So it's kind of the balancing act of it all that makes it difficult. And then, it's a very oversaturated market. So that's, yeah, for sure. For sure. I would say though, for me as a female, though, I really don't see a lot of female videographers in the sports world. I see a lot of female photographers. And so it does make me excited because I see a lane that I can pave for myself. But also too, when you're paving your own lane, it's going to take time, and you're not going to have kind of that immediate success that you would have, or, kind of move up the ladder as quickly as if you were working, for a major network or a major team or something like that. So yeah, it's just really, having the right perspective, keep moving forward, not being so hard on yourself, which is very difficult for me, and just really embracing the process of it all.
So that's a lot of video / interviewing experience, but it's like a lot of your time, most of your time, other than sleeping, is probably spent doing just that. So what do you do to get away from the video world?
I'll go to the beach. That's kind of like my place. I like to do that, just to kind of get away, kind of collect my mind, things like that. I do enjoy working out. I haven't been working out as much lately because like I said, I'm taking a break from boxing. It's been hard to because I'm a very all or nothing person. It's hard for me to just do it just for fun. I always have to have like a purpose or a goal attached to it. But yeah, just, being around people that I enjoy being around. Yeah. And just kind of taking some time for myself, is some of the things that I do.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this boxing.
This boxing. Yes. Let's talk about it.
So people don't just say, hey, I'm going to box one day, or do they? Because I feel like that's got to be something that was building up inside of you, or at least was in your brain before you actually maybe jumped into it.
Kinda. So interestingly, I started, I was just taking boxing classes at American Family, like some kickboxing classes, and I really fell in love with it. And I've always had a lot of strengths. And so to kind of be learning a new sport and kind of be pretty good at it, I was like, oh, this might be something that I could just, I was never really thinking, anything like fighting, but I was like, this is something that I could learn, grow at, get better at. And then I moved out here and I wanted to keep doing it. And so I found a gym and met with a trainer, and he was actually Layla Ali's, I think, like first trainer.
Oh, yeah.
So he was really hyping me up a lot, and started working with him. And yeah, I think I was just beginning to see that, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. And, I just need to get down the fundamentals, maybe get some experience under my belt. And I might be able to, kind of do something with this. So so yeah, I think it was then that like the idea of actually fighting kind of got planted in my mind. And then too, it's like, if I'm working this hard and putting this much time into it, it's like, I want to fight, I want to be able to say, yeah, I have a fight under my belt. So fortunately I can't say that yet, just, with COVID, and then I've changed coaches and things like that. But I would say the biggest thing about boxing that I really love is just the mental aspects of it. It's really shown me what I'm capable of. And I'm really able to take a lot of what I learned in the ring and apply it to, my life elsewhere. So
Yeah, that's a different type of discipline.
it is for sure.
And you got to be willing to take that punch. Like you good with that? Oh, obviously you are, because you've been doing it. Right?
Nobody likes to get hit, but that's the thing about boxing is like, hit or get hit, like you're going to get hit regardless.
Right.
And so it's, yeah, I really hate getting hit in my face, like a jab to the nose really sucks. Body shots, they aren't as bad, but it like, honestly, it really depends on who you're fighting. And so that's the thing is like, that's one of the things that I realized, and even like my coach is saying, like, you're really strong. You have a lot of strength. So you're not going to meet many other women that have as much power as you. Like Clarissa Shields, she has a lot of power, and she has that dog in her, that just willingness to win. And that's what's made her so successful, on top of just the experience and things like that. You don't see too many people who have that power like she does. That's why she's on top of her sport. And so yeah, and that was always my thing. Like when I would spar, is like, okay, I know this girl has a lot more experience than me, but I know that I'm stronger than her. So it's really just kind of figuring out how to utilize my power to just my advantage and not burn myself out. Because like I said, boxing is a mental sport. And so when you're gassed out, when you're overthinking, I lose all my power. So that's kind of been the biggest thing, is not being in my head, just relaxing, just flowing. And, that comes with experience as well. So yeah.
Has that made you, like, do you watch a lot of boxing in general?
I wouldn't say I watch a lot of boxing. There's certain fights that like I tune into. And mainly the women's ones. Like there's a fighter, Michaela Mayer. I watch a lot of her stuff because we have kind of similar fighting styles. And then some of the bigger men's boxing matches I'll watch, but I wouldn't say that I'm, I watch every single match.
I was gonna say, does that make you super, like, listen, people just in general, we all think we know everything, especially like Super Bowl, you have people that have never watched a football game who are like, he did this wrong. Mm-hmm. How do you know? You've never watched a game. Like all of a sudden, like Olympics, curling, none of us know anything about curling, yet we all think we're experts when it's on the TV.
Right.
When you having the experience, does that make you feel like, does that make you super critical of watching boxing, or can you watch it for the pure enjoyment of watching it?
I think it's allowed me to like see boxing as the art, because I think with any, like you said, like when I watch MMA, I've never done MMA, but it just looks like, two people in a cage going at it. Like I don't see the specific moves and the art to it. But when I watch boxing, I'm like, okay, I can see the head movement. I can see the feints. I can see, I can see certain punches that you threw and that were effective. So it doesn't look like, you're just throwing hands at somebody. So I feel like it's given me a greater appreciation for this sport, because too, I also know, like, I know how hard it is, not just, and even tennis, any individual sport, like when it's just you and another person, it's really that mental aspect more than anything else. And people don't realize how difficult that is. And like you said, it's very easy to be, on the sideline giving opinions and coaching and doing, but it's like, no, you get in that ring or you get on that court and you try to do that. And it's a lot more difficult than you think.
Indeed. Now, you mentioned on that court, I've seen video that you've shot and edited, created content, whichever way sounds better, where you created content of some leagues out in LA, Compton to wherever else. But specifically, I saw something that's probably a pretty big deal, and I think it was a pretty big deal to you, that you shot at the Drew League the world famous Drew League not too
Yeah.
long ago. How was that experience?
It was really cool. It was actually last weekend. I've been really trying to get plugged into the Drew since moving out here. And I mean, it's all about who you know. And so I got linked up with actually another former Hermitage alum, Christopher Copeland. And
Oh, okay.
he's been just a blessing to me. I told him what I'm trying to do, and he knows people in the basketball world, and so he was like, just come with me. And so I came and I shot, and nobody said anything. And yeah, it was really cool because like I said, I've been trying to do that for a while now. And so out here, it's nothing really matters until you come to LA. So all the work, all the experience you've had prior, it doesn't really matter. So hopefully I can continue to just and especially with things open now, there's a lot of runs out here. There's a lot of leagues going on. And so hopefully this summer I can, keep going to these games and collecting content and kind of building up my social media, and who knows what will happen from that. So just trying to do what I can and create my own opportunities right now.
That's how you do it. Of course, freelance world, you know about that. So, that's how you have to do it, really.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's under Caitlin Crumpton. Is it under photography? What is it, the name?
My social media?
Yeah.
It's my Instagram is ccrump08.
ccrump08.
Yeah.
That's where the magic is. That's where the magic is.
We're trying to cultivate the magic. Yes.
Indeed. I saw some other video that you have done. I think one was, I don't know if it was a cooking show? Was it a date? I don't remember what it was.
Oh yeah. So that was earlier this year. My former roommate, she's a chef, and she has a cafe here, and she was doing like a special for Valentine's Day, and just wanted to put a little video together. And so I came. She had another videographer there that actually put the video that she used for the promo together, but I just got some behind the scenes stuff for that. So yeah, that was cool.
Gotcha. I also saw that you were out at, I don't know if it was multiple protests. I guess it was last year. Out at some of the I don't know if they were necessarily Black Lives Matter protests, but it was protests during the racial uprisings and all through last year. And this kind of relates back to the sports thing as well. How are you received in those circles? Like, do you feel like an outsider, or do you feel that it's how you present yourself and the people accept you as you are?
Yeah. No, I would definitely say the latter. To be completely transparent, I've like kind of my journey, I've been very embraced and accepted by the Black community. They've taken me under their arms. And so so I think as a white woman, I feel an obligation to ally and to partner with them, because it's, I mean, there's a lot there, but yeah, I've been accepted, I've been embraced. And so it's just like, I want, people to, specifically my people, I want them to see, people of color, to see them as human beings, to dignify them as human beings. And the way that I've been, accepted, and in the way that I do. So it was, a very, very eye-opening experience, in last year with everything that happened with George Floyd, and then all the protests out here. I mean, I think there's still protests and stuff going on. But there was literally like one like almost every day. And so me and my roommate, we went down to one in downtown, and then I went to one in Hollywood with a couple friends, and he's a photographer, so he got some really cool photos. And yeah, I brought my camera out there, and I just wanted to capture just the story of what I saw and what I was seeing. And yeah, my heart is really for, like, my end goal is to produce documentaries one day. I just love the art of storytelling. I think that's what really sets us apart, is like, we all have a unique individual story to tell. And so, the people that I've experienced, the people that are in my life, the people that, that I love, like I want to be able to share their story, because I think in sharing our story, it humanizes us. It allows us to have compassion. It allows us to see that person as a person. And so that's really my heart.
That's can't knock that at all. I was going to ask you, what was there a dream or something that you definitely wanted to do in the future? So documentaries, that's your lane. Well, as you know, I love to tell a story, or at least to let people tell their own story, because as my tagline is, everybody has a story.
Right.
And a lot of times people just don't, like, I've talked to many people who have said, even on this platform, which is not a huge platform, but they've still said things that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And it's crazy that people, I mean, I appreciate it, because it's crazy that people would be willing to share such big parts of themselves with me, and have not done it on even bigger platforms, from actors, producers, athletes, whatever. So it's a beautiful thing when you connect with somebody and they are open and share their thoughts with you.
Yeah, and I think too, it's
that from being a reporter as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think too, like, when you give people the opportunity or just a platform to share their story, you're validating their experience. And I think that's really what we all innately desire. We desire to be seen, we desire to be known. And with that comes, well, we need validation. And so I think really that's why there is so much discord, because it's like we all have opinions, and we all, say, well, that's not as bad, or that, and it's just like, but that's a person's life. That's a person's experience. Who are you to, diminish that or degrade that? So yeah, I really think there is a lot of power in storytelling, and, giving people the platform and the opportunity to share their story.
I need the world to open back up, so these celebrities who, decided to jump on social media and start storytelling so much this way will go back to their regular lives to give me some space. I need some space to get in here.
Yeah. No, you're like, when you initially reached out to me and I was like looking at your content, I was like, oh, what you're doing is like really dope, because that's what you're doing. You're giving people the platform to share their story, and it's a beautiful thing. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So do you I think we've talked about so much. I think we've covered everything.
We've covered a lot. We've covered a lot of topics.
Do you have, oh no, I almost forgot the one topic. And how could I forget it when I'm looking at it, when I look at myself? Kobe Bryant. So you were in LA when Kobe passed. And I mean, obviously you live there now. And do you have a love for Kobe, or is it, because you did a video, you actually did a video. It was kind of like a montage of Kobe moments. And were you a Kobe fan before that, or was it just you were in the moment and you're out there, so it happened?
No, yeah, I've always respected Kobe. Like, one of the things that I loved about Kobe is just his work ethic, and just like his tenacity. Like, when he stepped on the court, he was out for blood, and I think it's just like that killer instinct that athletes, I feel like, really need, or that's kind of what separates athletes from, being super successful to kind of maybe just being subpar. But like, there was just something in him that was different. And that's what I just really respected about him and admire about him. And so, yeah, when it happened, like, I remember it was a Sunday. I was, I think, out to brunch, and my friend texted me and was like, Kobe died. I'm like, what? Like, it was just like, everybody, we were in shock. No, that can't be true. And then just to kind of see how LA, responded to it was really crazy. With all the murals, and then even in front of the Staples Center, people putting, different little memorabilia items out there. And unfortunately, they had like shut all that down before I could go down and get footage of it. But I was like, man, I'm in LA. I have a unique experience just to capture some of this. So why not go and capture it? And it's like, I had love for Kobe too. So I just want to, put something together, just to kind of pay homage to him.
Yeah, that is And that's a true thing. It reminds me of when I when I found out. I actually was at Hermitage, believe it or not.
Oh,
That's
wow.
yeah. I was refereeing adult flag football, and one of my other refs looked at me and he's like, "Do you see this?" And this is after halftime. I never checked my phone.
Mm-hmm.
After he says that, I look at my phone. My wife has texted me. My daughters have texted me. People have called my phone. I'm like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And yeah, that day, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget it. Not just because I'm a Lakers fan and appreciated Kobe. Just it's it's an icon that died. Not only did he die, children passed as well, including
Right.
his.
Right.
And again, he was an icon who was going into his second life, and people were looking forward to it. He had a lot to live for, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things, like, it doesn't feel real, especially people who are in the limelight like that, you think they're going to be around forever. And so when they're tragically taken away from you, it's a shock to everybody. And especially LA, like, it was like, when Nipsey got shot, like, you could feel it in the city, you could feel people just grieving and mourning. Like, there's a heaviness on the city when those happen.
That's a great point. That's a great point. All right, you mentioned Nipsey. I'm gonna let you go after this. What we're gonna do, just off the top, I haven't even thought of anything to ask you off the top of my head, but we're just gonna go real quick, just quick answer, whatever you come up with. Cool.
Cool. What's the question?
I haven't asked you yet. I'm gonna ask you a
Oh,
couple. Just
oh, you said cool. Yes, yes.
all right. So you're driving from LA to San Diego.
Hmm.
What's playing? What music? What artists?
Um, it depends what mood I'm in. So I'm a very nostalgic person. I like throwback. I like music that, like, takes me back to a certain time in my life. And so, like, a lot of the new stuff, especially, like, I listen to a lot of hip hop, R&B, neo soul. So I have a playlist, and it's like some new stuff, but then it's like some older stuff as well. So I love J. Cole. I love, you know, yeah, it just depends what mood I'm in. Just like some feel good music. So I'd probably just be playing that playlist that's just kind of bouncing between newer stuff, old throwback stuff, things like that. So
Got you. One athlete you can sit down with them for an hour and just have a meal and conversation.
one athlete,
Yeah, one athlete. Any athlete, pick one.
probably Derek Jeter, because he doesn't play anymore, but, like, back in the day, I was a huge Derek Jeter fan. Like, I wouldn't miss a Yankees game. I would record it and not tell people, like, don't tell me the score of the game because I haven't watched the game yet. So yeah, I would probably say Derek Jeter. I'd love to sit down with him and just chop it up.
What position did you play in softball?
So shortstop, I kind of moved around a lot. Shortstop, that's where I started at second, got moved to short, and then in high school they moved me to right field.
Gotcha. Let's see if I can have one other rando question. What do you have a go-to meal place out in LA?
LA doesn't do good food. I mean, they do good Mexican, but they don't. Yeah, I haven't had any place here that I just like. I absolutely love.
Really?
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
5 years.
I know. It's been a minute, but I just, like, you go to the nicer places and nicer restaurants. I mean, that food it's kind of overrated. It's not that good. But they do, like, San Diego has really good Mexican food. So I would say if I'm craving something, I'm craving Mexican, I would go down there and get something. They have this thing. Oh, they have this thing. It's called a California burrito, and it sounds really fat, but it's delicious. It's a burrito, and it has French fries stuck in it, and it's the best thing ever.
Oh, that sounds like a good time. Like
It is. It is. It
we're
is.
big on French fries in this household. So
Yeah, you got to go to the little hole in the wall spots. They have the best Mexican.
last question.
Okay.
In-N-Out burger. Overrated?
Overrated. Overrated.
Look,
I
my
mean,
daughter said the same thing. She was a cheerleader at Virginia Tech.
oh,
And
nice.
when they went to the tournament, men's tournament, they went to San Francisco.
Okay.
And that is the one place that she mentioned, and she said it was overrated. I've heard multiple people say that.
Yeah. So I think the big thing about In-N-Out is like it's cheap, you know, for the amount of food that you're getting. And literally like, when you drive by In-N-Out, the lines are super long, like literally wrapped around the building, but the fries are trash. I mean, the burger, like it's decent, but I'm just like, I mean, Five Guys to me has better burgers than In-N-Out. So I just, yeah, I think it's just a West Coast thing. You got to be from here to really love In-N-Out.
Yeah, and I think it might just be because we can't get to it normally. So
right. It's exclusive to out here. Yeah. Because it's like everybody that comes out here, the first place they go is In-N-Out. And it's like, why do you want to go to In-N-Out? I don't know. But
that is hilarious. Well, Caitlin, I've taken enough of your day. I do appreciate you joining me and chopping it up, talking about your life. Any last words for the people?
Any last words? I don't know. I guess maybe just some encouragement, you know, just keep going, keep plugging along, embrace your process. Yeah, don't compare yourself to other people because that's not always the best thing to do. But yeah, your story, your journey is specific to you. And so yeah, whatever purpose the Lord has for your life is going to be fulfilled. So just keep going.
Indeed. Thank you again, Caitlin. Once again, well, let's see which way you are. Probably that way. Caitlin Crumpton, Source. Out here.
Bye.